The 18th of July, 2023, and this is called Wild Petunia. We planted it here. It's called Wild. That's part of the name. It's this plant. Boop, boop, boop. They all bloomed on the same day. They weren't blooming at all yesterday, so that's kind of interesting. And what really interests me is that the conditions must have been quite precise to bloom, because these ones also weren't blooming yesterday, and it's not part of the same root structure. So that's kind of cool. I forget what these ones are actually called. I'll look it up in a moment. And we're live. Hi. Welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show from the void. By the Gregorian calendar, it is currently the 18th day in the 7th month, the month of July, in the year of the Lord, 2023. By the revolutionary calendar, I believe it is the very last day. I should really look this up, but I think it's actually the last day in the month of harvest, the month of Masador. Either way, whether it's the last day or not, very, very soon will be the month of Thermidor, the month of heat. Personally, I think I'm going to change out this month and the next month. Like, the calendar that I'm building has the month of Storm, coming up, but there is no month of Storm under the French revolutionary calendar. Anyhow, today we come live from Albany's Rural Cemetery in Menands, New York. It is currently 10:40 a.m., and this is important for the story because I was supposed to have a date today. I don't know if she's gonna flake or show up, and that's not a good feeling to have on a first date. My assumption is that something went wrong somewhere in her day, in her morning shift, at whatever she does for morning shift. I'll be ambiguous because I don't want to throw her under the bus, but I do find the lack of communication a little bit frustrating because, she communicated with me at 5 a.m. to confirm these plans, which hey man, fair enough, that's when you got to get up for work, that's when you have time to communicate. But if you're going to tell me that you're off work at 10 and that you're going to be here at 10:15, and I say, yeah, that's cool. So I show up at 10:15 without confirmation, which is that's on me. There's no animosity, But it's 10:40 now, and the fact that it's still radio silence is a little concerning. It's more than a little concerning. It's you're now 40 minutes late. Actually, that's not even true. It's you're less than a half an hour late, so I can't fault someone for that. So today we're going to talk about flaking. We're going to talk about people who are flakes, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons why I personally believe people end up being flakes. So we'll start with the really obvious one, and that's, surprise on this channel, narcissistic parents and surviving narcissistic abuse in childhood. I think that that's one of the major causes of people who later then develop into people who are flakes and who flake often. So for those who don't know, first of all, how do you not know? But a flake is somebody who does not, just so we're working with the same definition, does not show up on time, or who will leave early, or, and this is the really important one, someone who just fucking outright bails on plans. They'll make a plan, and then they will not keep to it at all. That's called flaking. So, I run a second chances. It's you get one fucking shot to show up and rendezvous with my group. And if you have any excuses, my mom died, I hit a cat on the way, I got pulled over, I drank myself stupid, no one cares, right? I treat my time as if it is sacred, first of all. And then below the sacred, I treat it as if I'm a billionaire. You're wasting a billionaire's time right now. I'm a powerful fucking person. And that's how I have to treat myself emotionally and spiritually, so that people don't screw me around. Now, personally today on this date, I don't really think that's excessive. I don't really think that analyzing it in those terms, first of all, is even healthy for me. To just hold that much, animosity. It's just not the zone of mind I want to be in, waiting for someone who I potentially could see. I'm not really sure about a partnership. But it's a date. It's a date. What am I looking for on a date? That's a different episode. So, but we're going to talk about flakes. So, one of the things that I notice, and we'll start with the red flags, right? One of the things I notice that's a red flag with flakes is that they don't ever actually, in technicality, sign a contract and confirm their plans. That is to say that, you'll tell them, hey, does 10:30 work for you? And they don't say, yeah, 10:30 is great. That'll be awesome. I'll be there. I'll bring a water bottle. They'll just say nothing. They'll say nothing because they don't want to be held accountable. It comes down to accountability. That's why I think it is a response to narcissistic abuse or just outright immaturity and stupidity, which, like, at that point, you're out the window in my group anyway, because I don't want you around in my life. Like, I don't keep idiots around. But if you're not an idiot and you're just a flake, and you're a flaky, ambiguous type of person, like, that's on you. Like, there's not really a lot of criticism that's going to come from me. You just won't be in my personal friendship circle, or really anyone else who's worth a damn, in my opinion. And so one of the ways that you can keep these fucking people out, again, I'm not talking about my date today. Like, that'd be very rude. And I don't know them well enough to know if it's an established pattern or like what the deal is, so I don't care. But for people who have already had an established pattern in my life, one of the patterns I recognize is that, yeah, they will not ever technically confirm a plan with you. No matter how hard you try, they will go radio silent. They will pretend that they didn't see your message. They'll be like, oh, 4 days later, it's too late now. I was so busy. It's like, no, you're actually just a piece of shit. Like, you weren't actually busy. You're just a fraud. Everything you're saying is false. You're gaslighting me, and you can go fuck yourself. Like, you're repeating what you would have to do to survive narcissistic abuse in your childhood so that your abusive drunk father didn't beat you when you got home because he was so fucking strict about when you needed to be home that, you know, you had to evolve coping strategies so that didn't happen, right? Like, that's like, hey man, you need therapy. I don't need to deal with your childhood trauma because you're late and you don't want to make plans and you had all these problems. Like, that's on you. The other thing that I noticed that's a red flag with flakes is that they're eager to tell you what their backup plans are, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're a flake. Like, I also do that. I tell people what my backup plans are sometimes. Like, hey man, it's okay if you don't come through. Like, I'm gonna be here anyway, whatever. That's me, right? Like, I'll invite someone else, whatever. But people who are like very flaky will say some shit like, oh, you know, like, I might have to pick up my brother. They'll just add some random shit that, like, you don't care about or need to know, but it gives them an excuse and an out later. It's like building a trapped door into your Minecraft server that only they can use, and then they use it and they're like, ha ha ha, I didn't flake you, I told you I wasn't gonna be there. And you're like, actually, you said you would, and then you kind of just, like, use this lame excuse that you, like, half-assed. Like, that's fucking lame, dude. Like, that's so often the case with flakes. Another thing that I notice with flakes is that they literally either do not understand or they, like narcissists, pretend that they don't understand time management. You know, whether it's by ignorance or by malice, they do not adhere to a schedule. Like, they will tell you a time that they think that they'll be free, but they have no fucking idea what time that actually, like they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be there at 10. And it's like, how could that be possible? You said that you get off at work at 9:45, so you're gonna what? You're gonna fly here at supersonic speed and eat? Like, no shot. Like, you're saying a time that you know ahead of time, or should know ahead of time, more importantly, is unrealistic. Like, that to me is equivalent to flaking because it lines you up and it puts me on the defensive that I have to do your logistics for you in order to just not have you fuck up your own plans with me. Like, if it gets to that point, I don't give second chances. Like, I don't have patience for it. I'm not a child. Like, 8th graders can go miss each other at the mall. Oh, why didn't you show up for the movies? Oh, it's okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Not me, man. Nope, you show up even like fucking 10 minutes late, it's like, I just block your number. Seriously, I'm that hostile about it. I really am. Like, I treat my time like it's sacred. I really do. I didn't used to be like that. And I'm also overcompensating in my strictness because I have rejection sensitivity dysphoria. I hate getting flaked on. I take it fucking personally every single time because I think it should be. I think everyone should treat it that way, and I think people should not make plans they can't adhere to, or they should be very stern with the fact that the plans they're making should remain fluid, open, and ambiguous. But they should stipulate that. They should say that concretely, that like, hey, let's leave this as kind of like an open-ended thing that like, I might come through, I might not. That's how I make plans. Like, I don't tell people like, yeah, man, I'm totally going to come through. I tell people, listen, I'm probably not going to come through. It's a lot of stress for me. And if I do show up, don't wait up for me. Like, I will let you know ahead of time. That's another thing you will never hear a flake say. I will let you know. They never say that. They go radio silent. Like, they don't communicate digitally or in person. Oh yeah, well, I'll get back to you. No, you fucking won't. When have you ever gotten back to me on anything? You've never gotten back to anyone, including yourself, on fucking anything. That's why you're stuck in your shithole life. That's most people I know who are flakes don't have good lives. There's the other spectrum of that, the like millionaire class, the people that like everyone wants to be around, the like celebrities, the popular kids in school. that are also flaky because they think that they're better than everyone else, or their time legitimately is more important and worth more than other people. Those are the types of people that you got to watch out for, because they will often just, they'll be like, well, call my secretary. Like, if you hear that type of shit from someone more than once, and like you walk in for, like, for example, like a doctor's office, like, I'll be leaving you a 1-star review because it's my only recourse, man, when you just don't show up to my appointment that you made for me. Like, well, I didn't make it, my secretary did. Like, that's the type of shit that you hear from flaky fucking doctors. Like, this does not, it doesn't choose or select for poverty. I think that people who find themselves in impoverished situations more often than not have flaky tendencies. But I think that that's more correlated to just degeneracy being correlated to, or I should say, degenerates in general, like a degenerative lifestyle where you're not actually making progress, you're regressing and your things are falling apart and you can't fix anything and you're out of control. I think mismanagement of time correlates to degeneracy. And I also do think that categorically people who waste other people's times are degenerates. Anyways, I don't really have much more to rant about. I'll come back tomorrow so y'all can see this with the DSLR. But like, check it out. It's more of these. This one's got better light. It's 3:40. I've been at the cemetery since like whatever time today, but it's been a while. I've been chilling here, but I finally found like something really cool. The other little one that you see, that's a maple tree. Very cute. So yeah, it's the Indian ghost pipe, and it does not photosynthesize, but it is a flower. Damn, it's muggy out here.
Yeah, right.
So obviously I went back to the cemetery and now I'm home. But I just wanted to talk because I was researching the ghost pipe flower, and it turns out that the flower itself isn't actually sucking the root of the plant that does photosynthesize, normally a tree. I think it said it was associated with strongly with elm. I don't know. But there's a fungus that is doing that. Like it's a fungus, and the fungus goes on the root, and then the plant, the ghost pipe, goes on the fungus. So, just wanted to like add that as an anecdote. Garden is chilling. So is that oak tree I planted a long time ago. It's like a decade ago now. It's crazy.